Okay, so we're on the bench here in the vise. Messy bench in the back. I gotta clean the bullshit up. Okay, so let's talk about some of the first things I notice. Okay, so this is completely loose. Little, there's play there. Probably, I'm sure, maybe the guys may be a little tighter than that as far as back is forward. But something that really amazes me here is, well, I don't want to say amazes, but what's nice is just finger tighten these slightly. I'm not reaming on it. I mean, that is, well, it's loosening up now just a tad. But, I mean, that thing just finger tight. Man, it's clamping. It's clamping. I mean, really biting on there, not in a bad way. So let's get these halves off. No, on the Geisleys, the ring halves are individually serial numbered so that you don't put the one on the other one and mismatch them. These obviously are not. But I'm going to try to make sure that they come back to the right bottoms. I know this is kind of going to be boring here, but I want you to see everything that I'm seeing. Okay, so we got one off, and out from that is going to be your I'm just trying to see if this is a metal or a plastic. I think it's a plastic 1-inch spacer. Okay, we don't need that because the primary arms has a 30 mil tube. I mean, who the fuck uses 1-inch scopes? 30 mil just seems to pretty much be standard today. Okay, one more screw here. We'll get this fucker out of the way. I just woke up. I work thirds and I woke up in the afternoon just to fuck with this real quick. So if I say any off the wall crazy shit, might have to just fucking slap me in the fucking dick lickers. Okay, so there we go. And I'll Loctite those and torque it down with my torque wrench. Now, as far as setting eye relief and Loctiting and torquing things down, I'm not going to make you watch that. I'm not going to make you watch just the complete whole mounting of this thing. I just want you to see that this is a nice... What I'll do is I'll go ahead and get this mounted up. And then I'll come back and just give you kind of like an overall, my impressions and whatever. But then, the second part of this is when I actually get out there to sight this in. I'll have to make another video, about the scope, about the mount. But essentially, as far as the mount goes so far, it is fucking cool. Really cool. Let me, I'm going to do some trickery here and bring this down. I know that's hard to see. Let me get a light. Whoops. Don't want to get it too bright there. But yeah, that looks pretty. That's a trick little setup. So anyway, I'll finish getting it mounted, leveled, and all that. And then I'll get back with you. So, something I wanted to point out that I found out from the manufacturer, which is Green Blob Outfitters, as I've mentioned, is these bolts. I went to torque them on to somewhere around, my goal was 30 inch-pounds. I couldn't find anything on these particular from the manufacturer, the torque specs. So my goal was 30 inch-pounds. Most of your higher end mounts, Night Forces and such, 25 to 30 inch-pounds is kind of where they recommend them. Well, I don't even know where I got, maybe 15 inch-pounds, and I ended up breaking the bolt. So Green Blob, they sent me another bolt, and what they said they do is they torque these hand tight with red Loctite on the threads. Well, what we're going to do today is I want to sight this in, and with these just hand tightened. Well, what I do is I used a ratchet and I snugged them up, you know, till they were, you know, pretty good and tight. I'm putting some pressure on that, but I just snugged them up, and until, you know, they were adequately tight, but not, I didn't like, you know, ream them, just what I could do hand tight. I'm going to sight this in, no Loctite. I'm going to take it off, remount it, and see if it returns to 0. So we'll have to see how it does. Okay, I got plugs in, and I don't know if I'm talking loud enough for you to hear me, but I've got this thing pretty much dialed in at 100. I'm just confirming it right now, and I thought I'd just get a couple clips of the mount and the optic, and then after I confirm the 0, I'll walk up there and I'll show it to you. I'll come back and we'll take the mount off, put it back on, Loctite it, and confirm the 0 once again. So let's get right down to it. Okay, so I come back to the range, and I let the Loctite set up on my mount. Now you could see how I'm shooting all crazy here, and then one clear over here, and then one clear over there. After the Loctite set up and I come out, first 2 rounds touching each other, and that's where we want to be, about 1 inch high from our aiming point, according to the Primary Arms Manual. Okay, so I come back to the range, and I let the Loctite set up on my mount. Now you could see how I'm shooting all crazy here, and then one clear over here, and then one clear over there. After the Loctite set up and I come out, first 2 rounds touching each other, and that's where we want to be, about an inch high from our aiming point, according to the Primary Arms Manual. Okay, so we're back, and I just showed you that target after we Loctited the screws on this Green Blob Outfitters Super Precision mount. And even though we sighted in with 147, I believe this is ZQ. We got a rough sight in, but what we really need to sight the gun in with is this 110 grain Nosler Varmageddon. The reason it has to be 110 is because in my 12.5-inch gun, it's the only thing I can get to the recommended, I believe it's 26 or 2800 feet a second that the manual says, in order for the bullet drop compensation to work. So with that said, I got a fresh target up there, and let's see how close the 110 is. I'm sure there's a little adjusting that needs made. But I wanted to show you just a little bit more shooting. And without no delays, let's get right into it before my phone battery dies. Okay, so initial, well, I want to call them my current impressions of this mount. Excuse me, I'm all choked up. It's sighted in. The screws did come loose, but we use a Loctite like the rep over at Green Blob said, and after the red Loctite we had 0 issues. Everything was good to go, and for $33 I'm really satisfied. I'm kind of blown away. I mean, it's a really nice mount for the price. It's cheaper than a Weaver. I got the mount because I needed something to try the optic out. I couldn't throw down the 210 or 215 for the LaRue mount, which I will get. I will eventually get the LaRue, but what this mount does is it's just a good mount for the budget. I mean, I wanted something to try the scope out, and I couldn't spend the 210 on the LaRue because I had some things on layaway. I had to take care of them first at the gun shop, and all I had was the $30. I figured I'd give it a try. Yes, it's quote unquote a copy of the Geisley scope mount that they have. I'm not sure if it's also called Super Precision or what, but it's a great mount. What don't I like about the mount? Really just one thing. They claim to have heat treated bolts, I don't know why mine snapped, if it was heat treated. I do machining in the aerospace industry for a living. I believe if they would have made these bolts out of a stainless or a 15.5 or 4140, I understand it might add to the cost. It's just bolts though. So if this mount went up to $45 and it had a 4140, 15.5 or a 304 or 400 series stainless bolt, I believe we could maybe meet torque specs of 20 plus inch-pounds. If they would do maybe a helicoil in the nut, this might keep us from having to use a Loctite. But you know, that's up to them. If I decide to keep this and never get the LaRue, which I don't know, I'm a QD guy, especially with flip ups, you know. I have thought about on my own time making some bolts out of heat treated 15.5 or 400 or 300 series stainless, or if I could find a small bar Inconel or some super aerospace alloy, then I thought maybe I would do that, but but for now this mount is bridging that gap. It's really working so far. If anything comes up, I'll be sure to make an updated video. I would say sometime by Christmas though I should have the LT104, and I'll always keep this mount set back as a spare. If I get a new gun and there I am, I'm in a pinch, I got an optic but I need a mount. I mean, this mount always will fill that place. And if I get a 22 or whatever, I mean, it's a great mount. It's on a 308 12.5 inch gun, and I plan on shooting more today, and I might get some video of that. I'm really gonna put the mount through its paces way before I can get the LaRue anyway, so I can hold off. I don't have to get that LaRue next week or the week after or next month or whatever. So I am thrilled with the mount. They did a good job. They brought a quality mount to people who are budget minded. And another case in point is, if I can get it, I need to make a review on this. I've had this for so long and I just haven't had a chance. The green blob GBO Atlas copy, Atlas bipod. I used it in the video. I've been using it since I built this 12.5 inch gun. I needed something to sight optics in, and I had a GG&G at one time. I got rid of it. I needed something pretty quick because I'm impatient. I only had X amount of bucks. I went on eBay. I found it. There was only one review on the internet. I wasn't satisfied with it. I thought I'd do a review after I tried it out, but I just haven't got there. Anyway, long story short, if you like the look of this mount and you like the price, then it's going to be a winner for you. I guarantee it. So that's all I got to say for now. I put some more rounds through it. If with the Loctite the nuts back off, I'll let you know. We'll just go from there. Just one trip to the range at a time, and really see how it's going to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, maybe you want to tell me I'm a cheapskate and a dickhead, That's up to you. But put them down below, and we'll go from there. Bye.